Hi, this is Kevin Gormley, a CPA that does financial planning, and today I wanted to talk about college. And so if your children or your grandchildren are going to be going to college, I've had a couple of experiences that I think I would like to offer my services based on these experiences. And the first experience was I went back to college in my 40s. I had to fill out all those documents. Now it's mostly online web portals that we have to go to, but I've filled them out personally, and I know sometimes the struggle to do these things and the stress that they can cause either parents, yourself, or the students. So anyway, I know how to do that. The second thing is I've been a tax CPA and financial planner for a number of years. What I've learned about tax is that no one wants to know a lot about tax. And you don't need to know a lot about tax if you have a tax professional that will do your taxes for you and help you navigate the tax system. But many of the forms that I'm going to talk about, they require that you take things off your taxes. So, we now have some great computer screen sharing software where you can sit in your house, I can sit in my office, you can sit at work, I can sit here, or we both can be at home even at night. And we can share what the forms are, and I can help you pick those numbers off the tax documents and make sure that you fill it out correctly. So I'm going to talk about the FAFSA, the HOPE, which is just for Tennessee, as well as the PROMISE, which is just for Tennessee. So first of all, the FAFSA, and I never can say the name correctly. It's the free application for federal student aid. And if you go to FAFSA.gov, it truly is free. There are companies that are trying to charge you to fill it out, but it is absolutely free. And so what is the FAFSA for? Well, it was originally for requesting aid from the government. The government used to give a lot more Pell Grants and subsidized Stafford loans. There seems to be less of that available today, but I highly recommend you still fill out the FAFSA for your kids or grandkids or for yourself. And the reason for that is based on the college solution from Lynn O'Shaughnessy. And what Lynn says is that paying for college is a lot like paying for an airline ticket. The person that's sitting next to you in the classroom may not have paid the same amount as yourself. And what the FAFSA does is it gives the federal agency the amount of income that you make in that year, but it also gives all the other multitude of schools that are out there. It puts you on their radar. It puts your child on their radar. And so there's two types of funding that comes. There's needs-based funding, which is strictly from income, and then there's also merit-based. And as much as we hear that it's hard to get into certain universities, which it is, there are many colleges that absolutely need to fill their classrooms, and they will be willing to give not needs-based but merit-based. And by doing the FAFSA form, that is usually one of their prerequisites. It puts you on, or your child on, their radar, and it starts the dialogue. So the FAFSA can be scary because it asks for all these different adjusted gross income, modified adjusted gross income. Again, no extra cost. I'm happy to help you fill out those forms. So the FAFSA is very important, and then having a number of schools that you're looking at, you can actually negotiate with colleges. Again, I know it doesn't sound reasonable, but that's what the college solution taught me. And I've heard that from a number of other people since then. So now let's talk about the HOPE Scholarship. The HOPE Scholarship is only for Tennessee. The lottery, the winners of the lottery really are college students. So you can get $2,000 or $4,000 for a 4-year university. And so it's based on grades. It's not based on income. So a person can make a tremendous amount of income and still be eligible for the HOPE Scholarship. The grade point averages, I believe, are 3.0 or ACTs above 21. So if your child or grandchild has those scores, you can apply for the HOPE Scholarship, and I would absolutely recommend that you do. The final program is a newer program. It's called the PROMISE. And I'm aware of the PROMISE is only for community colleges such as Pellissippi State Community College. And what the promise is they'll pay, I believe it's just under $2,000 for any child with any grades who wants to go to community college for a 2-year degree. And it's good for 2 years. Now, what if you get the Hope Scholarship for $2,000 and you get the promise for another almost $2,000? What will happen? Well, the Hope Scholarship will pretty much pay up to the amount of tuition there is, and then the promise will fill in any extra. It's called the last payment plan. So the promise will only be used if the Hope Scholarship is not used. You can't take the money and put it in your pocket. I wish you could. So again, I'm very happy to help with any of these or any questions about planning income for college. There's one last thing that's come out recently, and it used to be that the FAFSA, you would have to fill it out January or February to really get your child's name out there. Sometimes we filled it out a little bit later. But because most people don't have their taxes done January or February, you can now use the prior income from the prior year. So for example, in 2016, your child is going to college, and so you'd fill it out January or February of next year, 2016, and many of you won't have your taxes done. So we used to have to estimate the amount of income, and then we'd have to go back and touch it again when you did your tax return. No longer. You can just use the prior year. So that means that income, again, I call it income management, is very important if you have a child that's going to school. So thank you so much for watching. Again, Kevin Gormley, a CPA that does financial planning, and hope you're well.